Give you a live look right now at the strike at Ford's Kentucky truck plant. We've watched workers throughout the morning join that picket line.
And the workers will be striking until a deal is made. So WDRB business reporter Chris Otts is joining us this morning. You followed this story really inside and out. What happened in Detroit yesterday that led to this strike here?
Yeah, so I mean the pattern that we've seen is that on Fridays after the first time they went on strike, September 15th, they've been announcing new strike targets. Haven't seen it in the middle of the week. And then yesterday in Dearborn, the head of the UAW walked in, demanded a meeting and said, "Have you got anything new for me on economics, Ford?" And Ford said, "No, our best offer's right there on the table, like it's been since last week." And he got up and said, "Okay, well, you've lost Kentucky truck plant." And it was that quick. Within an hour, workers were walking off the job. About 6:15, I got a text from a really good source that said, "Get to Kentucky truck plant now." And I'm like, is this a joke? It happened really quickly.
It did. I was watching the 6 o'clock news last night and saw it all kind of unfold. Yeah. There are some people who may be watching this today. They see that this is our big story and they're like, all right, enough already. Why is this so important? Explain why it is so important to us here in Louisville and for the people we call neighbors.
Yeah, so let's start with the economics, right? So Kentucky truck plant is one of the most important pillars of our economy here in Louisville. It's Ford's biggest plant, and it's right here. It makes trucks that contribute hugely to Ford's profits, and the 9,000 or so hourly workers who are employed at Kentucky truck plant, their wages really filter through the Louisville economy in a lot of ways. So that's number one. Number two, even if you don't work at Ford, this strike is having all sorts of ways of filtering into the new car market. There are other plants that are affected. There are downstream impacts, ripple effects, perhaps part shortages at dealerships. So there's a lot to be aware of going on, and there's just many currents to this.
So there's also been an increased focus in battery plants. How does that factor into this strike?
Yeah, so and I don't think it should be lost on folks that this escalation of the strike is happening right in the backyard of where Ford's battery production operation is going. They're building these twin plants down in Hardin County. Those are not UAW plants. They're not even Ford plants. It's a joint venture with a Korean partner. The UAW wants these battery jobs to be part of UAW negotiated in their fold. They say they're trying to prevent this race to the bottom. The companies have been pretty adamant that these talks have nothing to do with these battery plants, but there was an interesting development last week. General Motors apparently agreed to put their battery production into the UAW contract somehow, and we're not certain what they've actually agreed to. The details have not come out. Ford still seems to be taking a hard line on the battery plants sort of being separated from these negotiations. So it's really hard to see where that issue shakes out, but it's incredibly important. Those plants just here in Kentucky, 5,000 jobs. UAW is concerned that if this is the future of the auto industry, they want to be involved. They don't want to see their jobs producing gas-powered cars be lost, and then these non-UAW battery jobs with perhaps lower wages and not quite the same level of benefits replacing them.
You always give us that context we need with big stories like these. Chris, appreciate it. And as always, you can find the latest business news from Chris Otts over on WDRB.com.